everyone, Irit here. If you don't know me, then hey, I do scrapbooking, art journaling, mixed media, and I'm super excited to contribute 3 projects for Jen's class. And I had a lot of fun making these layouts. So let's just get right to it. I am using the number 2 sketch. You can see it on the screen in the beginning of the video. And this is probably, from the 3 sketches that I worked with, this is probably the furthest one from my usual style. But the great thing about working with sketches, well, there are many advantages, but one of them is you can totally make it your own. But the other one is you can try new things, and I find it really, really shortens my process, which for me personally, that's a good thing. I have very limited time to scrapbook, so whatever help I can get to get things going, get things done, get some memories documented, I am all for it. So this particular sketch is pretty, I would say, kind of more simple, linear, not a lot of layers here, which of course you can change, but I decided to kind of go with flow and keep that very simple design. So I'm using, the papers that I'm using are from Felicity Jane, previous kits, just from my stash. And I have here 2 photos. I really, really wanted to use that huge word. First of all, I love the way it looks, but also I wanted to use it up. It's from an older Dear Lizzie collection. She had a pack of these ginormous chipboard words, which I absolutely loved. I think they're just so beautiful, and I really, really wanted to use them. So that didn't work exactly like the sketch, because the title in the sketch is not so big, but I made it work. So I printed my journaling on this little piece of pattern paper, and I printed it on my We Are Memory Keepers typewriter, which I love, but I do think it's a little bit of an overpriced item. The reason that I bought it, particularly this one, instead of trying to locate an older typewriter, cheaper one, is because it fits 12 by 12 papers. So that was a big advantage for me. But yeah, we're not talking about that right now. So you can see I'm trying out different things. I think the thing is I was trying to make my design look a little bit more like the sketch. But I think at some point you have to go with what you have and what works, and kind of let the sketch be, you know, your starting point or your inspiration, but not cling to it to the point where it just makes things more difficult. I mean, the point is to make things easier for ourselves. So actually didn't have these issues in the next 2 layouts. I think because they're probably a bit more similar to my own style, I found it easier to work with them. But this one, because it's a little bit more graphic, a little less layered, and because I was very stubborn and really wanted to use that word adventure, it just took me a while to kind of come to terms with the fact that this is how things looked best, even if it didn't exactly look the way that the sketch looks. And that's actually one of the good things about sketches. You can use them as inspiration, or you can follow them to the T. It's completely up to you, and I'm sure you will see lots of examples both ways in this class. So yeah, just trying to figure out where to place my journaling, and just trying to get a bit of a balance, because at this point the bottom has a bit more weight with that large word adventure. So I'm just trying to add a few more details to the top there around my journaling, also to make things look just a little bit more intentional and not just these squares of photos or journaling that I glued down. So this is just the adding some details, which is probably the fun part, one of my favorite parts, because I love embellishments. That's one of the reasons that I really love scrapbooking, because I get to use all kinds of pretty embellishments. So I'm gonna play you some music because there's not a lot to explain here. I'm just adding some decorations to this, trying to make it look more interesting, more detailed. I do love those puffy stickers. They are again from previous Felicity Jane kits, and it's just, if you're familiar with the kits, which I'm sure you are because Jen shows them every month on her channel, they're just really, really beautiful, very easy to work with, very easy to combine previous kits with current kits because it all has the same general aesthetic. So yeah, it's just a pleasure to work with them. So I'll play you some music and I will talk to you a bit later on in the video. You can see that I've added a few more details. There are some puffy stickers like the word sweet next to the word adventure. I nestled those letters like the best of them, like Jen taught me in her videos. I really love how she makes that work, that detail. And at the bottom there, I have this row of hearts, which I fussy cut, and I'm just trying to add some embellishments. I popped them up on some like dimensional adhesive. It's one of those things that I do all the time because I think it just makes such a difference when you have that dimension as opposed to just sticking flat, as opposed to just using flat things, you know, texture, detail, dimension. That's what makes embellishments interesting, in my personal opinion. So combining ephemera, chipboard, and other finishes and types of materials is something that I really enjoy doing. And I remember when I started scrapbooking, I think I only bought like sticker sheets and the occasional ephemera pack because they were, you know, more expensive than paper. I mostly bought paper. And then I started also buying those, you know, puffy stickers, layered embellishments, because at the end of the day, I found that they were the type of embellishments that I enjoyed putting on my layouts the most. I felt that they gave the most impact. And even though one pack of, you know, dimensional embellishments usually contains, I don't know, somewhere between like 6 and 8 pieces maybe, I found it still worth the price for what I got. So that's where kind of my shopping habits changed a bit. Now I'm adding these stickers. These are clear stickers, and I always find those a little bit tricky to use because you can see what's behind them. And if, like me, you do a lot of layers and a lot of patterns, sometimes it can be challenging to combine these. And you see how I'm a little bit struggling here. And I don't know if this actually makes it to the final layout. What I like about, I really like especially those kind of watercolor splatters or stains. Those are my favorite pieces in this. And I really love how that looks at the top with the bird. That's like my favorite effect from these. I think my issue was that because of that stripy pink line that I have there is this trapped space between that watercolor pink stain and that striped line, which just kind of it pulls your eye there, and not in a good way because there is that empty space. So I can't remember now how I solved that issue or what I did to deal with it, but I know that bothered me, so I might do some delicate surgery there. I think here I just didn't like, there you go. See, okay, so that bothered me. That's why I removed it. I really loved the way that it looked, and I think what I probably should have done was actually just, yeah, do that, what I'm doing now. But I couldn't do that because it ripped the paper below it. So this is where you get to damage control mode because you didn't plan or think things through. That's how I roll, and I'm okay with it. I enjoy figuring things out. And, you know, now I learned for next time that I absolutely love the look of that sticker, but I have to kind of make sure that everything else works with it. So I'm auditioning now certain things. That's where I find simpler designs more challenging, because I feel like when you have a very simple design, every piece has to be just so, and there I go. Now I think I decided, okay, I can make it work. So it's a pity that I didn't bring back that sticker because I really liked how it looked. But now that I didn't have the big one, the smaller one didn't make any sense. So I removed them. And, you know, those are just my choices. I'm sure I got, you know, now and then I get those comments like, why did you remove that? Or I loved how that looked, or, yeah. But those are the decisions that I made at the time. So I pulled out some of my Maggie Holmes chipboard pieces. I think I buy the chipboard sheet from every single one of her collections because they're just so, so beautiful. And that pink camera with the bird, I think I wanted to use that on like 10 layouts before I actually used it on this one. So yay! And yeah, I decided to stay with the chipboard pieces, and I really, really enjoyed making this layout. I love how it turned out. It was just so much fun to make, and I do love all the like individual pieces here. So even though it's probably a cleaner design than my usual one, I really do like the end result. So I hope you feel inspired to try something similar, and I will see you in sketch number 7. Thanks for watching. Bye.